So this is Hallie Rose Baker Confer. Okay.
Now, how shall we start this story? Let's start with my mother, who was born in September 13, 1888 in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Her father was a telegrapher on the Pennsylvania Railroad. And he was at his position in 1889 when the Johnstown flood burst forth from its headquarters up along the Conemaugh River and started down toward Johnstown. He was the last one to get a message through to Pittsburgh before he jumped out of his little tower and raced up the hillside to save his life. In the meantime, his wife, Hallie, Esther Love, was at her home with her new baby, Emma. And she was sure, when she heard this water racing down the valley, that he had been caught in it and that he would have died. And it was sometime later when he made it home and opened the door and yelled, "Hey, where are my girls?" and told the story of the flood coming by. But he quickly changed and raced down to the river to see if he could help somebody, and help to save somebody who was caught in the flood. So, and later they heard about his cousin, this young woman who was married to a Pennsylvania Railroad conductor, that she was at home with her two little daughters when she heard a man race past on a horse, yelling, "Get out of here, get out of here, the water's flooding, it'll be here in minutes." So she grabbed her two little girls and started to run toward the hillside. But in the last part of her trip, the water was already coming toward her, and she grabbed the girls by their plaited hair and carried them quickly across through the water and up the hillside. You know, those Rigney women were tough. Grade school. And then her father sent her to finishing school, where she learned to play the violin, to paint beautiful pictures, and to how to manage a household. But Mother she just loved adventure. And when her Aunt Nan and her husband came and invited her to go with them to their home in Belton, Missouri, she took the opportunity. Mother stayed in Belton, Missouri for 8 years, during last year's helping to take care of her uncle, who was seriously ill. Then the war started. Mother heard about the upsets at home, and she was anxious to be with her family, so she took the train back to Pennsylvania. Now, the railroad was looking for young women who were intelligent and well educated to take the jobs of the men who had been sent off to the war. So Mother applied, and she became a railroad telegrapher. Although mostly she used the phone in her business, she sat out in one of those little buildings along the railroad track and took messages and put up the signs so that the railroaders would know what they were supposed to do with their train. Brother Dick was one of the railroad telegraphers that was taken into the army. He fought in France for some time, before they began to get word that the war was near the end, and the family was looking forward to having Dick come home to be with the family again. And then they got the sudden message that Dick had been killed in action, and then he was buried in France. It was a sad day for the family.